to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, be with us today and help us as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interest of our residents, the best interest of our those folks, Lord, whose lives we touch with the work that we do here. And ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, apologies for getting a little bit of a late start, but sometimes that happens. Looking at the minutes from September 24th, 2024.
Make the motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Good job, Tony.
That is.
Ready for me? So since we were 5 minutes late, somebody's going to have to talk 5 minutes less today. Looks like 15 to me. Oh.
You can't see.
Hold on a minute. Ready for me? Yep, ready for you too.
I don't have a whole lot today. Looks like Nate has some stuff, so I'm going to shorten my time just for Nate. We have Allied Health Insurance weekly claims in the amount of $91,783.50. I did verify the claimants. And that is, prescription was $32,007.51. Medical was $59,774.99. So that's that.
Thank you. Any questions on that?
Motion to accept the claim.
Second.
All right, motion carries to accept the claim as presented.
And you should have received the accounts payable claims, and those are in the amount of $870,029.21. And I did note that there was an ARPA payment for $339,000 for the scanner, U.S. Imaging, in the recorder's office. I think Brad helped me. K-Tech Special was like $157,000.
Yeah, that's our oil supplier.
So those are a couple of the big things. I think Quality Correctional Care was also in there, almost $40,000. So those kinds of things kind of added up.
So that scanner must have won an advance payment, didn't they?
I assume so. We did. Tom has a contract with U.S. Imaging that I downloaded into Gateway.
Okay.
So we're all good with it being obligated.
Good.
So
Any questions on the claims?
No.
Not accept a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
and that is all I have today. Last week I had a pretty decent amount there.
On the first day of October. All right, thank you. Nate? What all do you have for us today?
Looks like a lot, but it is. So,
Did you say it looks like a lot, and it is?
yes.
Okay, time's up.
Exactly. So, got a couple different items for you here. The HSIP grant, that's the guardrail extensions and impact ends grant. It started the process with submitting that. They did not like the county grant form for that alone. They are asking for a separate document to be signed, and Stan, I believe you've got 3 copies of that up there for you. I'm just requesting your approval on that. A copy, or essentially, it does a breakdown of the budget as in the grant application, and it shows the distinction between our county grant form and what they're anticipating. The issue became is that when I look at the totals in our grant application internally, it looks like a total obligation. And they're thinking that that's the federal ask, and it's not, so this breaks that down in an appropriate manner. So I'll substitute this or add this to that document.
I've got 2 copies. Do I need 3?
Nope, I just need one, and we'll give one to Tony.
All right. So do we need a motion to approve me signing the bridge inventory rating and safety inspection report and also the,
So we'll
No
need
for
to, we'll
special
just do
safety
these
projects.
separate. So just requesting your approval for signature on the safety call grant financial commitment letter.
just a separate,
So you'll have one that'll look like this. Yep,
yeah.
yep, that's the letter right there.
And then, so this is a separate,
Correct. That'll be the next, that's next on the list.
okay, so I'd accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Thank you.
Next is the countywide bridge inspection. This is the phase 2 report. This is the draft binder of that. I've gone through this with you, just given them my comments. They are to complete the printing of the final report. They will include a signature page that you have there. They're asking for your signatures on that cover letter.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Right. Next is Bridge 40, that's Washington Street. They're 650 north, just west of 27, next to Hindman Park. That project is proposed to start next Monday, October 7th. Would be completed, the plan is to have that completed by October 11th, that'll be the Friday. Will require a full closure of the roadway during that removal. I've sent notice off to the city and the schools so that they're aware of the situation, so the impact on buses. It won't start before the first shift leaving in the morning on Monday, but it will impact the drive home on that Monday afternoon, but it should be open to traffic by Friday afternoon. So that is the proposed plan. There will be signs that there'll be no through traffic at the edges, so out west of Decatur and then to the east there as well. But that doesn't mean people respect it, so they may be going to the neighborhoods.
What is the city limit there?
City limit there is Woodridge Drive, there where you transition right at that last small structure.
So as far as if there's any detours coming out of the Highlands and Woodlands across Creek, the city's gonna have to deal
There,
with it.
and that's why I was including them on the notices of the project.
Gotcha.
So they're at least aware of it. There may be some, we'll probably get complaints of traffic that's not supposed to be going through there, but thankfully it is only for 1 week.
So that's interesting. That's a county bridge almost within city limits.
Yep, well, this,
Kind of,
the
sort
count, because of the structure of the language, all the bridges, when you're 20 foot or over, are county bridges in city or not, because all the city residents pay into the Cume Bridge Fund.
Gotcha.
So that's the distinction. So those are county jurisdiction, even though they're inside city limits.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
yep. So just a notice for everybody of that, and please avoid the closure areas. Next, we've just got County Bridge 93. I have been in negotiations with Aegis BLN regarding the future of that project. Fortunately, I don't believe we're in a position to proceed with their design supplement to seek out federal funds as using that locally and then seek federal funds for just construction inspection. With your permission, I plan to kind of put their project on hold indefinitely at this time. And while we seek federal funds during the call coming up here in November, you have a draft budget of what that project would look like right now. I have additional documentation here, and I am on the agenda for the council meeting, and I'll bring it up during your next commissioner meeting for approval on a grant application for that project with that budget as I have it written up.
Why is that being replaced?
That bridge is the last bridge I have that's eligible for federal funds because of the condition of that foundation on that structure.
How urgent is that deterioration or?
It's a 4 on an 8-point scale on the substructure. So if we seek federal funds, it will certainly delay the replacement somewhat, but I think that based on its condition, it will certainly last that unless there's some kind of unique
But we don't have to put a
circumstance.
load rating.
It is not currently load posted and is not recommended for one right now.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
So it's not one where I felt like it needed to be pushed ahead of other projects, but I'm trying to find grant pots that are eligible. And this is one of the last replacements that's eligible for federal funds based on even the latest inspection report. So I don't have any new ones that came up in '24. So this would be one that would fall into that. So thankfully, we do have survey that's been completed. We have a design concept and estimate that's already in place from Aegis BLM. But I would propose that we seek federal funds for the finishing of the design as well as construction and construction inspection this November. So kind of just a notice right now, I will bring it up for formal approval next week when I take it before council for their approval on the budget and that grant application. In addition to that, similarly as my number 2 project, I would like to seek funds for Bridge 105. That project is listed in the county bridge asset management plan. It's the one on carrying 000 over the Blue Creek, just north of 300 South. It was overlaid back in 2007 or 2009. I don't think I have it listed on here. So it's certainly time for it again. It's been heavily eroded from the buggy traffic on that overlay. Quite a bit of washboarding as a result of it, and there is some delamination. It's listed in my asset management plan that's been federally approved, so this would be eligible. It's a bit expensive to do it this way as a total project cost, but the county obligation is actually quite small. Right now, rough estimate, I don't have this final yet, but my local obligation would be about $174,000. I can't replace it. I couldn't do just the construction for twice that. So it's definitely a good return on the investment for the county if we were to be awarded those funds, but I don't want to put that above Bridge 93.
So is it just the overlay you're redoing on that one or the whole bridge?
Just the overlay. Well,
Do you do that as a paved deck or do you do it as a concrete deck or?
for the traveling public, it'll look like it does right now, just smooth. We'll essentially mill, hydrodemo, and put another surface on top of that.
Okay.
We're treating that concrete surface as a wearing surface. So kind of like putting new shingles on your roof.
Okay.
So that's the intent with that project as far as scope. It would include, in addition to the surface, I am putting a rodent barrier to deal with the groundhogs getting underneath the approach slabs. I counted 6 groundhog holes on one corner of the bridge when I was out there last. So my intent would be to try to keep them from doing any damage to the substructure since they like that spot apparently. So just kind of information for you, and I will have both the grant applications for you at the next meeting immediately following council's approval. So assumed approval. How's that?
Okay.
And then lastly, just kind of a thank you note here to Pre-Stress. I had an opportunity to meet with the president of Pre-Stress out at Winchester Road. They do quite a bit of beams and construction out there. There's certainly a support industry for construction, both at the state level and at a local level. We're looking at different difficulties and efficiencies of different construction methods, different beam types. I certainly had discussed with them my dissatisfaction with side-by-side box beams and their bridge types and their construction. And they did express that they were frustrated with even the quality control ability that they have based on their nature. And there are some alternative methods that they make that may be useful for us. So, but. Again,
So do we use those type of beams?
We've used side-by-side boxes quite a bit. There's a lot of bridges that have those in the county. They have problems, they're difficult to inspect, and because of their system, there's better, more efficient beams that we might be able to utilize more often. It just changes some standards and heights of bridges. So I'm going to work with them. It's not every circumstance works perfectly for those. Bridge 93 is a good example of one that is not a good candidate, I believe, for the next beams that they utilize, but they would be a good resource for us. So I wanted to at least thank them for the opportunity to do the tour and go through different pros and cons for the community. So,
Very good.
all right.
Any other questions for Nate? Oh, too late.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Nate. All right, Brad, do you have anything for us today?
Yeah,
Or I should say, how much do you have for
a
us?
little bit more today. No. All right, the first thing we'll get out of the way is I do have two permits. One is for NIPSCO, and it's on 4400 North, 200 East, so just north of 33. All they're doing is an existing gas main across the road. They're going to bore across over there and give the gentleman that lives there gas service.
New service.
What was the address again?
4400 North, 200 East. Went out and looked at it, I mean, shouldn't be a problem.
Motion approved. Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And the second one is, if you remember, I&M had subcontracted out, putting in new poles on 200 West between 300 South, 350 South. I told you I was going to go out and talk to them. This permit is so they can move 5 of the poles that I asked them to.
Well, ones they put in bottom of your bench, right?
Yep. Right in the middle, bottom of the ditch.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, motion carries.
That was 200 West between 300 South and 350.
They'd have got the permit for the first time, they wouldn't have to.
Well, no, they did get the permit.
Oh, they just put it in the wrong place, huh?
Yeah, normally they do really good. We told you that. They're really good. They pull out, they put it back. Yeah. For some reason, these here, they had 5 of them right in the middle of the side ditch.
No.
So while you guys are signing them, talk about a couple other things. Just like some planning ahead, you've asked about our Stone Road conversions. And, I've been in touch with Mark and Clayton, and they are working on getting us the paperwork finalized for right of ways and that. So hopefully we would really like to start on these, this fall sometime if we can this winter. Because we can go out and haul stone if the weather's fit, do those kinds of things.
Have you ever done an analysis of the cost of maintaining a stone road over a 10-year period versus paved road?
I've never done analysis, but we could do it. We got all the information.
I mean, is that something that would be worth evaluating before we convert these roads? Or not?
I mean, I can do it. I can do a cost comparison.
I mean, is that reasonable or as far as?
I guess I'm not sure it's going to make a difference for me. I assume it's, I don't know, I guess I know, but I don't know that maintenance costs one over the other is going to convince me not to convert a stone road to a paved road, so
Okay.
I don't know that the maintenance would.
Your maintenance of gravel roads, when I've done it 4 years ago, it's probably about half as much money to maintain a gravel road. So going to chip and seal is a quality of life and service to your citizens over economic. So, I mean, when you do that, it's a service to the public.
Okay.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying because you think, it's so much to chip and seal a road. Well, the cost of stone every year, I know what you're saying. And yeah, I mean, I get it.
Well, yeah, and some of these roads I didn't know. I know like, I don't know if it's 400 East or 425 East off Pickway. I know they've been asking for a conversion for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's one of them on the list. Let's see.
No, I don't think, that's not 400 out there.
One off of,
It's not off of Pickway, it's off of 600 North there, ain't it?
yeah, one on,
Not
just
600 North,
just-
just north of 400 North. Yeah,
just east of 101 there. Yeah, just east of 101.
yeah, so they have asked.
I think that's one of them. They've
But
submitted.
I know
the-
when he asked me a couple times, I said, well, you need to get all the landowners on that road
Exactly.
together.
Yep.
And so,
So, all right, so now we'll move on to my next items. If you've been on Winchester Road recently, you noticed we had that paint striped a few years ago. I believe it was 21. They're really faded, so I would like to get your permission to restripe those roads to quote it out. And we also have all the railroad crossings up there. Those are really faded again. Those need redone. And then also down on Old 116 out of Geneva, we chip sealed that this year. And they were faded before, but now that we've chip sealed, those lines aren't there anymore. But we want to do like Geneva through the curves, and then when it straightens out, it'll be all right. But I just would like your permission to get quotes on getting all three of those done. And it obviously wouldn't be till next spring or summer, but if we could get them out now, maybe we get on their schedule. So I'm asking for your permission.
Does that include repaving the railroad crossings that they're redoing? Is that our responsibility?
No, our responsibility is the markings coming up to them. Once we get up to their right of way, we have nothing to do with it,
Okay,
nothing.
so they will repave once they get the.
Yes, they'll repave all that. They take care of whatever's in their right of way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That 116 out of Geneva, are you going to do the center line all the way to the state line or not?
We were just gonna go to 100 East because then it straightens out. You know, it's a straight shot. We were thinking more of safety through the curves and that. I mean, we can go out further. I had to have, that road you have to have a skip pass, no pass survey done on them where somebody comes in and tells you where that goes. And the gentleman is working on getting me that because it never had any records of that being done. If you'd like to see it go out further, we can go out.
Just seems to help the,
I think it does too, especially a road that's going to carry a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
just the center. I mean, I'm not more worried
No,
about the edges, but that
yeah.
center, I think would probably help if you did
I
116.
think that center line helps on a roads that carry a lot of traffic.
Yeah, and the other thing too, my question for you now would be, is it out at 500 East that turns and goes down to New Portland? That's where a lot of the traffic,
Right,
would be all right if we stop there,
yeah,
just
just,
to go all the way to state line.
right, just right there where,
Basically, we're old 116.
correct.
Yes.
If you could go that far, but I think would really help.
Yep, we can do that. So if you, just asking your permission that we could get quotes on that.
I'll make a motion that you can get quotes on restriping.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
All right, now the next bigger item. For quite a few years, we've discussed 700 South, the project from 27 to 150 West, there by the high school. And, we wanted to do that. Well, this project was started before I was even here. Plans are ready and been working with Nate on things. And we would like to send this out to bid here in the next week or two, and then have bids opened up in November. This is a large project. I mean, large, because we are widening the road, we are curb and guttering the road, we're changing the slope coming to the intersection there at 27, we're changing that slope, so it's not as drastic, and all the storm drainage that's in there. So it is a large project. We're looking at around a couple $1 million. Yeah. But when it's done, it's going to be nice and it's going to be much safer. Much safer.
And this gets a lot of school traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing is there any way that, I don't know if this has to go through the state, but boy, sometimes a traffic light there would really be great.
That has been brought up many times down there, and there's not, any wreck is too many. Any fatalities is too many, but according to what the state guidelines are, there's not enough there to put a stoplight in. Not enough. You're talking 700 South. Yep.
We not enough traffic you're talking about overall.
Not enough wrecks,
Not enough wrecks, I see.
not enough fatalities.
I see traffic.
I know at least two right off the top of my head.
I know.
I know a couple that's happened there.
I
that's-
know, I do too, but that's been asked. City of Bern has asked multiple times. It just doesn't meet their basically minimum standard.
Jerry's done the studies on it up there at the Northeast Coordinating Council, whatever like that. He's looked at that. It just doesn't meet the federal guidelines. It's been looked at multiple times.
It's sad to say, but
You can take the other one down, move it down south.
hey, there you go. Yeah. So anyhow, we've been giving you guys every year a list of our plans, trying to keep updating costs on it. And, obviously now here we are 7-8 years later, it's gonna be a lot more, but
I think we need to keep identifying those roads that carry a lot of traffic and improve them a lot. Not just try to kind of spread our money out so that everybody gets a little bit. I think we need to identify those high traffic community crossings, true community crossings types of roads, and and make them better.
And that's
So I
another
think This
thing.
is one of those.
Yes, that's another thing too. I wanted to, Nate can help me here too. This road though, would have met community crossings guidelines
I understand.
because of all the things we're doing. Yeah,
I understand.
but yeah,
But because of the, obviously what South Adams has done there and the traffic that carries
Yes.
anymore, that road needs help.
so yeah, anyhow, our goal is to bid it out into November with construction happening next year.
Yeah, I think too, there's a lot of roads that would be well served, by taking them down with grinding, widening, and resurfacing like he did 750 from Winchester to
The state line or county line.
county line. That's a huge improvement. To me, that's a lot safer road. The roller coasters otherwise, so.
So anyhow, yeah, I'm asking for
Sheriff,
permission
you have
to.
some-
Real quick, Brad, and that project going to school, are there deceleration lanes, at 27 or turn lanes, 27 and turn lanes going into the school?
No.
It's just widening in?
Yep, we're gonna go to, it'll be a 22-foot wide, but 24 to the back of the curb.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a much wider road.
Oh, yeah.
And it will be nice rolled curves, so that way if you get up on them, it doesn't tear them up, yeah.
Does that include sidewalks?
So that, okay, so part of the plan is sidewalks, but the city of Bern has agreed to pay for the sidewalks. So I told them, I said, we don't pay for sidewalks, but it'd be much easier to do when this whole project's going. So yes, it is figured in on the project, the city will pay for it.
Awesome.
We acquired additional right of way for that purpose.
Yep.
It's kind of the alternate. It's, if something were to happen where that didn't get built, it would be because of some appropriate with the city.
I'll make a motion, I'd like to put that out for bids.
Second.
Okay, motion carried.
Thank you.
Good. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know how great it is for me to see a project finally come through that was started before me. That's awesome. I'm excited about this. So just real quick, couple other things, or one other thing. No through trucks. Do you want that now or during your time?
I'll do it during my time.
Okay. Clayton will be presenting to you the no through trucks for a month. And I believe that's all I have.
Well, thank you, Brad.
Thank you, guys.
Rick, what do you have for us today?
The electrical project over at the courthouse is coming along pretty good.
Good.
Hopefully next week, weather permitting, we'll pour the concrete out there. We'll do our best that's where everybody enters over there, so, to work around that, do our best that doesn't inhibit a lot of traffic coming in and out of there, but we'll work around it, and hopefully they'll be patient as they come in the building and leave it.
Do you think we're on track to have that done by election day?
Yes,
Very good,
yes.
very good.
The transfer switch here, Thursday and Friday, attempt to get it down into the basement on Thursday and then see what's going on. And then if they need Friday to maneuver around the chillers, they'll do so. So I was just meeting with them. So Thursday and Friday is when that transfer switch is coming in the building. Those are the two big.
Well, hopefully we can make it to the door.
Nobody gets hurt.
Take measure, don't lie. This is one thing. There's a sign out here where the recyclable cans are. Basically telling you, we can just get this out. The shredding portion that we shred, they can't have any plastic bags. I guess it comes up their knife blades. So if we take shredding paper down there, we need to dump it in there, not in the bags.
How many barrels can they use? Because that's going to be a lot of shred paper,
Well,
more than just one.
Yeah, there's like 5 barrels.
So they can use any of those, or are they
Yeah, they can use
various?
any of them. They
Okay,
can use any of them.
so they can keep dropping shred shred paper in any of the
Any of
4 or
those.
5 that are there.
And that,
Just those plastic bags alone, and the sign that's down there is what they wrote me on the cans, and I talked to them, but just something about it, that thin
So
plastic
you-
comes up there.
They'll have to carry it down in the bag, open the bag and dump it.
so that's for employees only.
Yeah.
So we would put out a notice to department heads to that effect.
I'll send that out.
Okay. Thank you.
What, Rick, what's that? I guess I'm not paying attention to that. What's, we shred, we bring items that are confidential or personal information or whatever, and we put them in an open container sitting out here in the hallway to shred, or,
It's in like the recyclable cans from the city.
okay,
The different offices shred whatever they're shredding, paper.
okay.
And then they would throw the bags in the can, and then we take it out.
Okay, so it's already shredded. It's shredded
It's
material.
already shredded.
I get it.
It's just that they can't have the bags.
So we have shredders throughout the building where individual offices shred their own material. Is that correct?
Yeah. They do.
Okay.
Several offices use it. And, sometimes.
Is the school still doing the recycling to get money out of that? Like, I know they did that a while.
They said they didn't get enough.
Okay.
Didn't get enough for that, so they're not doing that no more.
Okay,
So Rick, everything is shredded twice? The offices shred and then the company comes and shreds again?
Yeah, it's something like, whenever it goes in, whatever they
That sounds
do.
excessive to me. I don't.
Yeah, well, you gotta think, you throw it all in there, it's bottles, it's not bottles, but it's like plastic bottles, it's anything.
It's not all paper. then.
No. Oh, I thought it was all paper. Okay. It's just the recycling. It's just the recycling company. They just can't have that thin plastic. It comes up their knife, is what they said.
all right, well, put out a memo and our employees will take care of that.
That's all I got for now.
Okay, any questions for Rick? All right,
We'll do our best out here Thursday and Friday to let people come to that elevator, but it'll be a situation where a forklift's coming through that hallway, just like we do this room. But we worked around it.
very good, appreciate it. Ed, what do you have for us today?
Next week I'll have the monthly report and a couple other things, but nothing.
All right, thank you. All right, Sandy, Sheriff? Morning.
We're just here today to ask for permission to apply for a grant. It's a court reform grant. It's through the Supreme Court in Maine. And it will be for, we asked for a bid for some video monitors in the clerk's office for the and the court that will have the security camera feeds into it so that we can kind of see what's going on around the building. Several offices have those, and that's part of the grant we're asking for. The larger part is that we're starting to work on replacing the remaining funds. We can ask for the grant for the courts through this, but there would be like additional funds needed if we want to apply through the index.
For this building, because the court will cover court-covered responsibilities to the grant.
And then the third part that we're asking for is there's never really been a good solution for the office,
Let's stop you real quick. It's just security upgrades for the 4D girls' office. That's all I want to get into in a public meeting.
Oh, right.
There's some construction involved, things like that. But it's a security upgrade for evacuation for the 4D because they are trapped in their office where it's located. So we have a solution to try and give a benefit to that.
Very good.
So the total amount that we're asking for is $78,575
For the grant.
for the,
Very good.
would be those three. And I have that here, and then
Where's
I've
the grant
also,
coming from, Dan?
Indiana
I've also
Supreme Court.
attached estimates too, so that you can see.
Indiana Supreme Court.
Well, obviously, you've been directing all the security on all of our buildings, so I appreciate you working with the courts and prosecutor on this project, so.
Will you be bringing this to council then next week for their permission as well?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you keep those and bring those back, I'll just make copies for you and one for us next week. If you want to do that.
So, good, well, hopefully, it sounds like a very defensible grant.
You want a motion on that, Stan? Make a motion
This
to
is a
approve,
motion just to apply for it.
just to apply for the grant.
You made a motion, right?
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right, very good, motion carries.
Hey, folks, how many monitors are we talking about? How many monitors? 6 monitors? Did we do 40 monitors? What else?
Well, in that way, they will be able to monitor the outside cameras.
Because there's so many blind spots, they can't see who's coming into the offices. That's the main point of it.
Do you need our signature?
There's for your signature there on the back of those pages, maybe, Stan?
I think
The
that
very front page, there's a big flip, there's
there's a box to check that you accepted it.
Gotcha.
And then Sandy will take it, bring it to council. Dennis will have to sign it. If they approve it, then I'll make an extra copy for us. You can have you one.
it's not due till October 28th.
That's fine. Well, if you want council, come next week for council.
Yeah.
Because they won't meet again until November. Unless you'd rather I keep it and I can bring it down, it's up to you.
Why don't you keep it?
You want me to keep it? Okay. Got it.
All
I
right.
just had one other thing I wanted to bring up. We have arranged with the foundation and the court for the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts to come in for tours on October 10th. And so we made up a little flyer about the courthouse and the memorials outside. John Whitwright's going to be there too, so I thought you guys might like to see that little flyer.
Very cool. Did Max help you with that?
He's got all the wording and pictures, and John kind of helped with it, and then I just threw it together.
How cool.
Wow.
How cool is that?
We're gonna leave some extras downstairs. We had that grant celebration we thought about maybe last year, or the year before, and that's what we're using up for all the printing costs. And then we got some additional canvas pictures of just different old pictures of the courthouse.
Very good. So is Rick Burkhalter working with you on that too, as far as access and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
So we've got plenty of, Carrie Burkholder that I work with and myself are gonna be in that night. The building won't be unlocked. We're just gonna let groups in as they come. Connie Muir is gonna be there, and then all the scout leaders too.
Yeah.
I just thought, but she said that yearly they try to do that in
Yeah.
different buildings.
Yeah, that's neat.
Big deal.
Yes. Thanks for doing that, Sandy.
I'm gonna be downstairs. First floor, like right where
In the courthouse, in the county courthouse.
That's on October 10th.
October 10th. Yeah. 4:30 to 7.
Okay.
While I'm here, can I have a minute?
Sure.
All right, just want to see what your guys' thoughts on the unrestricted funds use of the opiate settlement. I would like to purchase a pair of drones with those. In the last 18 months, we've had at least 3 incidences where we've gone to serve warrants and the person had barricaded themselves at structures that we can't see into. 2 of them, we've contacted a SWAT team to take over for us. And the third one, it didn't meet the requirements of the SWAT team because it was a misdemeanor warrant. But the guy still barricaded himself. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm requesting this, so we could fly something in and get eyes on to see what's going on without sending a person in.
So this would be outside of the typical grants that we've just approved, correct?
Correct. Those grants are required to be used for certain things.
Sure.
My understanding is these are unrestricted funds, which are not as much of, but they can be used for anything that you guys would approve. So this doesn't necessarily have to do with counseling or anything like that. It could be used in some drug investigations, but that's not the main point. The main point is these type of situations, and also in my tenure, we've had several missing kids. They run off and get lost in cornfields. This type of equipment can be used for those type of things. The 2 drones, when I say 2, one is a larger drone that is meant to fly open air outside. The camera has a thermal on it, and it also has a zoom capabilities. The other drone is much smaller, where the props are protected just with the camera, and I'm adding a thermal, so we fly it into houses. It's made to hit walls and stuff and still fly, to where the larger one, if you hit the blades, it's breaking. So.
Well, and just to be clear, we have approved money for the grants, but there is a remaining amount of unrestricted money that we would still have to decide what to do with. So, the money for the drones would be approved if we approve it out of the money that's left over after the grants we've already approved. So
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
there's, after the money that we just approved, that was recommended by the opioid steering
Correct.
committee, there's still money left.
This has nothing to do with that money.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha, okay.
This is outside of.
Correct. That is, there's a
So-
separate fund that has a certain amount of money in it that is different from the funds that you have approved. My understanding, there's been no funds approved out of the unappropriated or unrestricted funds as of yet.
Right. So the question, do we want to talk about that and either approve or disapprove, or just like the grants, do we want to accept it on a recommendation from the JREC committee? Or how would you guys like to do that?
That's what I'm here to try and find out,
Yeah.
because for this year,
'Cause we may
that process has been filled, but this has come up since then. And I'm trying to figure out if I need to wait till next year or.
I don't
How I
think
move
you'd have to
forward.
wait, but if you want to, if we want to go through the JREC committee, they meet next Monday.
Correct, but that is not the subcommittee that makes
That's-
those,
That's true, yeah. So,
my understanding, probably, there is no meetings planned because your grant cycle has been completed.
yeah.
So that's why I'm asking you how you want me to proceed with this.
Yeah, so I mean, we could certainly, approve based on council's approval, or however you'd like to do that. So,
I would say get some quotes.
I have it.
That's what I
So
was gonna ask.
We'll know what the
kind
amounts
of-
are.
The price on this is $40,650. And that includes I have a training certificate that comes with it that will certify the operator and meet all those qualifications.
do they have to have a pilot's license?
This course that he takes fulfills that requirement, that he does not have to have a pilot's license. There's an exception with law enforcement, but you still have to go through a certain course to be able to fly over people and things like that.
Gotcha. Tony, you don't have that figure handy as far as how much is left after?
I can get it. And he's talking about restricted. There's less money in restricted than there is unrestricted.
No, I'm talking
Unrestricted.
unrestricted.
Oh, you're talking,
Yes,
opposite.
correct.
Yeah, I can get that here in a minute. I know we pay insurance on 2 drones that we currently have still. I don't assume that can be used in any way for anything you're doing.
The smaller one, no. The larger one could possibly, I have no idea what we have, but I don't have
I think
access to.
Ethan's probably the one that knows what drones we have and so forth.
Okay,
That was done years ago when Don Coon was assessor.
correct. I don't know how
And Landon
long
Patterson
they've
was there.
used, how often they're used. I don't know what certification they have, and I don't want them fly in when we're at a barricaded spot.
Yeah, I just wondered.
What, you got some drones, do you, Dan? or-
No, I do not have any
Who has
drones.
drones here?
The county has some drones that they use for assessment purposes.
I'm trying to find, because I don't know if it was you or Bree that sent that to us.
I think I may have, but I can't remember when I sent it.
Yeah, I know there's a pool of money that's unrestricted, but even though it's unrestricted, we need to see that it, still, even though it says unrestricted, it still has to be used, I think, with some nexus towards, law enforcement. I'm sure law enforcement's included, but take a look at that and make sure that we can spend those funds.
I guess I am kind of inclined for this to go through either the opioid steering committee or at least the JRAC committee, since that money, even though it's unrestricted, stemmed from the opioid settlement. I would hate to go, and this doesn't feel like a tangent to me at all. This feels like it fits into that. I guess I don't know that I feel qualified to make that discernment between, yes, opioid unrestricted. I feel like we do need a drone. I feel like you need a drone. In the world we live in today, I'm surprised you don't already have one. So I think we need to resolve that, and this looks like a good avenue for that. I would feel
The
more
only reason I
comfortable.
brought up JRAC is because the opioid steering committee is primarily JRAC.
I would feel more comfortable if it went through there first and then came to us.
The JRAC or the committee?
I'm comfortable with either one, because like Stan says, I feel like that the bulk of the opioid steering committee consists of individuals who sit in JRAC. So I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
Let's at least talk about it Monday and see what everybody.
The problem is I'm not going to be there. I leave Friday. I'm out of state. I will have somebody there to speak on my behalf. Eric's going to be there as my proxy anyway, so I will bring him up to speed on
Well,
this.
and I'll be able to speak to it too with Eric and see.
And I will preempt Ian so he can have an answer if this qualifies for those unrestricted funds. I kind of talked to him before a little bit, and he believes it has, but I'll make sure he knows for sure that he can give the recommendation to the board that it does qualify if they choose to.
I think it's more a matter of just making sure the process is correct
Okay.
and not the project itself, but the process.
Yeah,
Because we've done it this way so far, we don't want to change it.
Right.
Understood? Not a problem.
Well, even with that, we can include some of the other members of the opioid steering committee that typically are not at the JRAC meeting.
Correct. That's what I just want to know how to handle it, because I know I've missed the window of the normal application process. So if I need to submit one and they can have a JRAC meeting over it, or after
Are you
Tuesday.
gone
if
all
they're
week
good with it.
next week then?
Pardon?
Are you gone all week?
Yeah, I come back on Thursday night. So I'll get Eric up to speed. He'll be able to speak on the behalf of it. And if you want me to fill out the application to go through that process, we can. But if after Tuesday, if you
Or I
guys,
don't know, maybe like Mark said, that's been the process, so I don't know, maybe.
The amounts in each of those, there's 251,756.85 in the restricted. In the unrestricted, there's 131,127.61 currently.
That's after the grants have been.
good.
I will have Eric ready to brief the board at JRAC on Tuesday.
All right,
Perfect. Thank you.
thanks, yes.
Tony, if we're paying insurance on drones that are 5 or 6 or 7 years old, I question whether we're still using those things. Would you ask
I'll
that
find out.
question? Yeah. Maybe we are. I don't
The
know.
last time that came up about whether or not to insure the drones, I think I don't know, Stan, you may have even been part of that discussion.
It
at
sounds like the
time.
assessor's office.
Because the assessor's office and Mike and so forth, we were trying to figure out about aerial things and all that.
Well, I guess it'd be good to know exactly what we have. And
I'll find out.
Exactly who's using
You
it.
may not want to keep paying the insurance.
Maybe not.
I'll find out.
If we don't fly them, they're set in a closet somewhere and never go out.
Okay. All right, Mark, what all do you have for us today?
one subdivision.
All right.
Corner of 200 west and 100 south. They simply took a lot, cut out 8 acres. So this lot in its entirety, that corner was already being, and they just were pulling that 8 acres out, creating a new lot, 200 west.
So will they still be able to divide a third portion at some point in the future?
If they wanted to, yes.
Okay.
Up to 3.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Sticking around there.
I'm gonna go grab a couple. It'll be a minute before she gets
Okay. Very good.
Hope you won't be long now.
Steve, in answer to your question on the drones, Ethan said we still have one that is used for tower inspections.
Okay,
For network equipment. Bob uses it.
good. Good to know.
Well, if it still has a value, then we probably should still insure it.
Yeah.
This is a dumb question, but if you're flying a drone, is there much liability? I mean, like, say if you're.
There is some, like if you
If
wreck
you're
it, hit
flying-
something or hit somebody or something.
Well, I'm kind of thinking more, if you're flying a drone, like say when Samaritan's coming in or Luthen Air's coming in, and somehow those two.
Assume that there's some liability, but that liability's gone over to whatever certification class, whoever the operator is. I don't know.
There's height restrictions,
Yeah,
airspace restrictions.
I would say that probably the height restrictions on what a drone is allowed to fly at, keep it out of. And
Would our
other
umbrella
aircraft.
liability policy cover anything with that?
That's
I
probably
mean, that would be the biggest,
I think we had scheduled coverage for the drone back at the time when we bought them, but we need to check on that again.
that'd be the biggest liability. I
Sheriff gets new drones. I believe so.
Who uses the other one?
I think GIS, assessor GIS, and then I'm not sure on the other one.
There you go. 534225. Yes. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Mark, what do you have for us today?
We've got some ordinances to do. Clayton's brought those, so the next ordinance number is 2024-11. So Clayton, you want to cover the ordinances we got for adoption?
Yeah, and actually I'll just do this, the resolution first.
Resolution is number 9.
2024-9.
And the only thing, Tony, I know you probably know a lot about this because you were doing where you sent this over with me. This only requires signature of council. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll be both. The commissioners and council both have to approve it. It's the resolution approving the payment of the federal audit out of ARPA, which is allowable, and that's what the resolution states. What was the amount, 5738?
$5,678.93.
So you guys, if you approve paying the federal audit out of ARPA, this resolution, and next week I take it to council for their approval, then we can pay it.
Okay, take a
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries to
So
approve.
we'll show that a motion of the commissioners approving resolution 2024-9. Are there signature lines on there?
There's no
for them?
signature lines for them.
Well, we'll just put them on there. Here, I'll add them.
Because I think it takes both bodies.
All the other ARPA did anyway.
I'll keep moving along though. So the first ordinance I have, which would be ordinance 2024-11, it's an amendment to ordinance 2024-6, which was the most recent procurement policy and purchasing agent ordinance for the county. Most recent update, I know the sheriff has mentioned this before, Indiana law changed here recently to where the county is allowed to provide authority to certain county officials to enter into contracts rather than bringing every single contract for the commissioners to approve. So I used the same limited purchasing agents that have limited purchasing power for the county under section 6 of this document. They would also have the ability to enter into or approve contracts on behalf of the county. And I'll just read that specific section. Pursuant to Indiana Code 36.2-2.8, the Adams County Board of Commissioners delegates additional authority to the limited purchasing agents listed herein to approve contracts on behalf of the county. However, the delegation of such authority to the limited purchasing agents is limited by the following. Funds must be appropriated in any such limited purchasing agent's applicable budget to purchase the products or services subject to any such contract, and to any contract a limited purchasing agent proposes entering into on behalf of Adams County shall first be sent for review to the Adams County Attorney. So other than that, this ordinance is the exact same as 2024-6 related to procurement policies and limited purchasing agents. So there was just that one section update.
Is there any allowance for any type of oversight, or I mean, if they're for us to, I mean, part of the reason why this was never done in the past was so that the commissioners, you know, having the liability and responsibility, you know, pretty much insisted on having be the signers on all contracts. But when this changed, it delegates that authority, in this case, to the sheriff. Does it also take away our ability for oversight, or how does that? I mean, I think right now we have an excellent sheriff who's an excellent manager, and I trust him. But if there's ever any thing in the future, does it allow for us to say, we'd like to?
Well, so the statute doesn't go into it specifically, but I'd be willing to, and I guess if we want to have further discussions on that at a later time, to kind of specify in this section 6, what if there are certain types of contracts on you know, certain subject areas, you're willing to allow that. If it falls outside those subject areas, then they need to be brought to the commissioners. I mean, if you know, we can come up with categories.
I mean, at this point with the sheriff, I have no problem whatsoever, you know, adopting this ordinance. So
What's the spending threshold?
The spending threshold, I mean, it goes in line with, it still has to follow the procurement policy.
So that they would not be able to enter into a contract that exceeded their authority to incur, to approve the obligation. So if they have purchasing authority up to, what is their purchasing authority without commissioner approval? It's like 5,000 or something like that? So they could enter into a contract up to $5,000, but no more?
I think that's what it is, but we might want to revise that ordinance.
I guess I'm comfortable just entering into a contract up to their purchasing authority, but I think beyond their purchasing authority, I have an issue. If they can't.
if he signs like maintenance contracts, I mean, it's not going to take him much at all to get over that.
I know, I hear you.
You know, and he needs to have more leeway than that, for sure. So,
Yeah, let's take a look at the language.
Yeah,
you know, even for vehicle maintenance, building maintenance, he needs.
but I guess if we have to sign an invoice, if we have to approve an invoice for $10,000 for vehicle maintenance, why wouldn't we have to approve a contract for $10,000 for vehicle maintenance? I'm struggling. I don't want to differentiate between approving a payment and approving a contract, but I also don't want to differentiate the other way and say you can obligate the county to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of contracts, but you can't sign an invoice for that amount. To me, those two feel like they need to be in concert with each other.
I think we need to make sure we specify what requires final approval by the commissioners and what does not.
Yeah.
So we'll clear that up.
You know, take this drone, for example. You know, was this ordinance in place, would he have had the right to put that money in his budget and sign a contract for the drone?
The money would have to be appropriated already. You'd have to have it in a budget and it'd have to be appropriated for, that sort of expenditure.
Sure.
The question, then you got to follow procurement policies still. And the only question is whether or not that can be spent without coming from in front of the commissioners because it's over some threshold. So I think we need to review that and figure out where that level of comfort is and put that in the ordinance.
For instance, I don't want it to be just minor semantics and that I can't approve an invoice for this, but if you put it in the form of a contract, I can approve that. Let's not get there. Let's not go there.
But I think the whole point is, he doesn't need to be coming to us for every contract he has to sign.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it.
I'll make revisions to it.
So, what's your next one?
I'm gonna leave that part, just as 2024-11, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
For us to bring back a revised copy. The next one then is 2024-12, an ordinance designating speed limits for highways or portions of highways under the jurisdiction and control of Adams County, Indiana. This specific ordinance is, well, one, the county has conducted an engineering and traffic investigation on Winchester Road, which stems from 2,300 feet northwest of the west junction of County Road 900 North to 300 West in Adams County. And this ordinance would change or set the maximum speed limit for that portion of road to 45 miles per hour.
This is the piece that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Ordinance.
By the Holly subdivision.
Okay.
Right.
It's 55 now.
I believe, yes.
Need a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
I would show all three voted for that. Did you vote for that, Stan? All right.
On ordinance 11, since no action was taken,
That's reserved.
we can still reserve that,
Yep.
even though it's tabled for more discussion.
Yep.
Okay, wanted to be sure.
And then we'll just publish that.
Publish the speed limit change and post the signs.
I wouldn't. Did you add names to that resolution as well?
I'm gonna add a whole different signature block here for the commissioners on this thing. So just, I mean, they've approved it, but it's 2024-9, but okay, we'll add the signature block form so they can sign it next Tuesday. Gotcha. Do they have council next Tuesday? Yep. So they can approve it after the council meeting. The council's gonna act on it first.
Yeah, if you or Clayton want to bring it over,
I've got a note here.
We'll Marie or somebody.
We'll take care of that.
Well, probably June and Marie, it should be on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The last one is 2024-13, which the short title of that is a temporary emergency ordinance of the Board of Commissioners, County of Adams, State of Indiana, which designates various county roads or part of county roads as no trucks thoroughfares pursuant to the powers vested in the State Board of Commissioners, County of Adams, State of Indiana, under Indiana Code 921-138 and Indiana Code 921-47. Again, this was after some discussions with County Highway. We have our regular no truck thoroughfare ordinance. Rather than going through, especially given this one is very temporary, as the project's only, I think, going to last for approximately a month.
more weeks, 3 months at the worst, depending on weather.
But rather than going in and adding these roads to that, and then later taking them off, after discussions in our office, we decided it's easier to have these temporary ordinances, because once the project's over, then we can just request the commissioners to rescind this ordinance, and then our regular one stays in place. So the relevant roadways for this temporary ordinance would be 300 east from US 224 to 900 north, 400 east from US 224 to 600 north, 500 east from US 224 to 900 north, 600 east from US 224 to 900 north, 700 east from US 224 to 900 north, 900 north from US 27 to 700 east, 800 north from County Road 000 to 700 east, 700 north from the city of Decatur limits to 700 east, 750 north from State Road 101 to 500 east, 600 north from the city of Decatur limits to State Road 101. That sounds correct, Reg? Sure.
Fun number.
And these are all relative to that project out on
Correct, the
224.
project right now that's ongoing on 224.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
I like the approach to setting up this temporary
And
ordinance.
obviously there will be times that we, need to amend the long-term one, but, rather than doing that every couple of weeks. This makes a little more sense.
Anything on the farm lease for the farm ground around the jail or the,
I think Mark has that.
Talked to Doug and I let him know that that 3-year prior lease ends this harvest. So I let him know that we'd be putting out for bid. I've got all the documents prepared, so I've got the notice to bidders, specifications for the lease, and then also a form of the actual lease that would need to be signed. So I'm going to give that to Tony, so he's got it on file. And I'm proposing that we go ahead and advertise that to receive those bids November 6th at 10 a.m. here in the commissioner's room. That gives time. That harvest should be done by then. Everybody should know what their yields are.
does Doug know that date?
Yep.
too?
So you guys approve that date. I'll send him a copy of this so he knows, but then we also publish it, and then anybody that wants to submit a bid, it's approximately 82 acres tillable, and that's the county jail farm. And so we'll get that out there for bids.
Here's a dumb question is, there's corn on part of that ground, part of that 11 acres at Golden Meadows. Is that a lease?
That's a separate lease, and we've only got 6 tillable acres there, and that's under lease right now with Craig Freakty, and that's good for another 2 years.
You need a motion on that, Mark?
Just need a motion to approve putting this thing out for bids,
All right, very good. Thank
and
you.
we'll receive those November 6th. And here's the, I'll let Brooke know, but here's copies of everything, so you've got them on file. Once we get the notice published, we've got plenty of lead time here, but we'll get it published probably 3 weeks out. 3 or 4.
What's that date again, Mark? Was it gonna be?
November 6th. It's the day after Election Day, so it's not on your normal, it's a Wednesday. So you guys meet on Wednesday, November
Post the
6th.
bids.
Yep. Well, and so they got to, anybody interested in doing it has to submit a bid in writing, an opening bid. And as long as they submit an opening bid, then at the meeting, we receive additional bids until we get to the high bidder
But they have to have a bid submitted before they're
Yes.
eligible to come to the meeting.
to raise a bid.
Raise a bid. Correct.
While we have Mark and Mark here, anything on the public transportation?
I met with Mark and I've got I'll talk to you afterwards, but yeah, that should get out this week as far as the
So we
RFPs.
can put a notice out for bids this week.
Yep.
And then how long would we give people?
Probably 2 weeks.
Okay.
Is that good? Are you good with 2 weeks?
So by the middle of October, we should have bids back and.
Yep.
Okay, and at that point, we would have a number that we can, figure out how that's gonna be.
Yep.
paid for, so.
And hopefully get working on site prep and concrete.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. I don't have anything else. You guys got any other questions?
I would have, Mark, you're going to be drafting a contract with American Structure Point for the vision plan work. Just a reminder. I know that stuff gets to the bottom of the pile, and that's something that I'm not sure how long that will take you to do. You should have their proposal, I believe, from me to use as a basis for that contract. So,
Yep.
And obviously, they're I've alerted them to the fact that they've been approved, but they're awaiting receipt of that contract.
Okay.
So they can send it to their contracts people and begin to look it over.
I've got it on my calendar.
Okay.
Make a first draft tomorrow.
Good.
Very good. Anything else for Mark or Clayton? Okay. Shannon, do you have anything for us?
Good today.
All right. Okay. Any other reports on anything we're working on? Okay. All right. Anything from the general public? Okay. Johnny, if you'd like to come up. So we'll probably, for the interest of time, we'll probably try and keep things short if we can.
Okay,
So,
first of all, I wouldn't be here if I could have found the answers elsewhere. Okay. I got this notice of violation, and my main question is, when you get a violation, is there, even before that, is there a deadline? What I mean is, when my house burned, of course I, was told I needed to fix it, but was there a deadline as to when it had to be fixed?
I don't know if there was a deadline with that notice, whether there was a notice of, because I know that was an unsafe, it was designated as an unsafe structure because of structural damage from the fire. So as far as repair, I don't know if there was a deadline, but.
Because my concern is, if I got a notice of violation, if I would have known it needed to be corrected by such and such a date, it would have been done.
The fire was about a year ago.
Right,
Okay.
right. And I have been working on it. I worked 3 solid months in there. I removed all the gutters and the downspouts. I cleaned up a lot on the outside. But all the time that I worked on the inside, I didn't know I should have been wearing a mask maybe. And all those toxins got in my body. And then I ended up 4 days in the hospital and almost died. So,
A couple of these questions, from what I understand, the Plan Commission is overseeing this project. And so with the recent paperwork that's been submitted for your property, there's going to be a hearing on that notice, and the Board of Zoning Appeals is going to oversee that or handle that hearing. Is that correct? And that's coming up on October 17th.
Yeah.
So I guess my thought would be, at that time, you would have the opportunity to ask those questions. And because I know some of this, a lot of this is outside of the realm of what we do and decide. So, you know, to me, it sounds like the appropriate time to ask these questions and defend those decisions would be at that hearing. So,
Okay, well then, my last question would be.
so I'm not trying to brush you off. I guess that's a long answer for, I don't know. So,
Okay, well then my last question would be, when I got the notice of violation, it mentioned several different codes. And I was having a hard time finding, I wanted to see the exact code. So I went to the auditor and they gave me.
so you're talking about the current violation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they gave me, it's from the Adams County Board of Commissioners Ordinance 2022-14.
And that's, I think that's probably the unsafe building.
I'm sorry?
I think that's probably the unsafe building code, is that? Because I've seen,
I think it's more of public nuisance code.
and that was with the unregistered automobiles in the front yard and the tall grass and-
Yeah.
and the trash.
Well, my concern here
Okay.
is, according to this, which I just now found out because I just now read it, Section 8 says there can be an appeals hearing, I guess, of the notice of violation if it's submitted within 10 days. I just now read this today, you know, and I got the violation on the 25th. So at this point, could I ask for a couple of days to extend that 10 days to file an appeal of this notice of violation to start with?
I guess I would kind of, you've got basically a couple different issues to deal with. One is the unsafe building that, you know, has to be dealt with, and it sounds like there's been another paper filed, you know, for a condemnation order, but then also the nuisance ordinance. So I guess I would deal with the most serious one first, and that's at the Board of Zoning Appeals hearing, which is coming up on the 17th. And I guess I would, you know, from the discussion you and I've had and that I've had with the Plan Commission, it seems like that would be the most urgent thing for you to deal with.
Okay, well,
I mean, that's,
could I submit
I'm not an
something
attorney
anyway?
and I'm not head of the Plan Commission, so.
We can't give you any legal advice, and we can't circumvent the process that is put in place by the Plan Commission and the Building Department in the violation of that ordinance. So that's why it's imperative when you get this paperwork that you read it right away.
When, I was never given this. I got this on my own.
No, but you got the violation was delivered to you by sheriff.
But the violation didn't say anything about that I could appeal it.
You need to read your paperwork, and when
It's not in here.
but you told me that you just read it today.
I just got this on my own. This was not sent with the violation.
You need to ask the body that's processing this violation, and that is the Plan Commission. Is that correct, Mark?
Okay, I'm not allowed to talk to them.
Well, you can talk to Mark Nguyen is here, he'll talk to you. They have their own attorney, I'm not their attorney. I can't alter their process.
I went into their office and I was told by both of the women in there that I could not talk to them, that the only one they would talk to would be my attorney. Well, at this point, I don't have an attorney.
Okay. So, right there is, what do you got there for, Mark?
That's the unsafe building ordinance right there.
Okay.
Sounds like you just asked for it.
Am I supposed to look at that or keep that or what?
You can
I
have
can
it.
have it.
Yep, you said they didn't know where those violations were at, so there they are.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
So I guess, Mark, while you're here, is there anything else that she can, should, or would do before the hearing on the 17th?
I mean, I can't, like, there again, I mean, you gotta read the documents that you've been given. If I would encourage you to get an attorney, but if you don't have an attorney, make sure you read the documents and follow what it says. There's a process. I don't know if you've missed any deadlines or not. You could file a request anyway. That's up to the Plan Commission, whether they'll grant that or not. I don't know, but I can't sit here today and tell you what to do. Other than when you get paperwork handed to you, read it immediately.
Okay, and in response to you, when I got this, I read it that same day. Okay, there was nothing in this that said anything about an appeal of the violation.
I think it probably,
I don't know that that's fact, but
Well,
we've had difficulty, Connie, over the years getting anything to you that you say that you received. That's why we have to do it by sheriff's service. We've mailed out things multiple times. You're well aware of that. You've changed your mailing address multiple times.
Do you want to meet with me privately?
No, I'm not
Okay.
going to. Don't need to. Okay, I know the difficulty we've had over the years trying to get you paperwork. You never seem to get anything we send you. And that's why we have had to revert to getting all the documents hand-delivered by a deputy to you, so that I have proof what was handed to you. Am I wrong?
I think that's a little off the subject.
Well, I mean, it's been a pattern.
You know, I'm trying to tell you that I did not receive everything.
All I can tell you right now is read your
Did not
paperwork
receive.
and follow the process,
I had to get this on my own,
okay?
and thank goodness the auditor's office gave it to me.
Okay?
well, I don't know that there's anything more we can do for you as far as from the commissioners or our commissioner's attorneys. And I guess, you know, with the hearing coming up with the plan commission through the Board of Zoning Appeals overseeing that, I guess that sounds to me like the next step, and so,
Okay, I appreciate that, yeah.
but
And
yeah.
And I did bring the license plate from the one vehicle. It's a historical vehicle,
Okay.
so it is licensed. Okay, I mean, I've got a ton more, but you don't have time, so.
Well, and I
And
guess
not to put, not the
it
right
sounds,
place.
it sounds like a compliance issue, and it sounds like, you know, you need to have more attention to, you know, the compliance.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
all right.
All right.
Thanks for coming in. All right. All right. Anything else?
Just one thing, Stan, you guys do not meet on election day. You meet the next day and the 6th. Is that right?
I'd have to look at it.
November 6th, I think, is a Wednesday.
Yeah, but you do not hold a meeting on election day. The
No,
clerk don't meet.
we never
I didn't
do.
know that till today.
Never have, as far as I know.
Was that my rule?
You can come in on Tuesday and wait.
You can.
Doors are locked. I can't get in.
All right. So, okay. If there's nothing else from the general public, I'd accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion carries.